This article was originally published by Mongabay, an independent media organization reporting on nature and planetary challenges. In the shallows of Raja Ampat, Indonesia, a bold conservation experiment is underway, one that blends marine biology, local stewardship, and international collaboration in an effort to bring a species back from the brinks. It's called ReShark, and it represents the world's first attempt to rewild an endangered shark. Working alongside the IUCN Shark Specialist Group, Conservation International, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and 105 partner institutions across 20 countries, the Rewilded initiative aims to restore populations of the Indo-Pacific leopard shark, also known as the zebra shark Stegostoma tigrinum, to reefs, where the species has all but disappeared. This is something that's been done for decades on land. Think California condors or wolves in Yellowstone, said Mark Erdman, Executive Director of ReShark and Shark Conservation Director at Rewilded, former Vice President of Asia-Pacific Marine Programs at Conservation International, and one of the architects of the project. But in the ocean, and especially with sharks, this is a first. Indonesia Program Manager Nesha Ikeda Erdman and the ReShark nannies release a pup at Cry Island as students from Child Aid Pakula look on. Credits Luca Vame, Indo-Pacific Films. Erin Mayer, co-chair of the SNAR steering committee and a founding member of ReShark, said the idea initially seemed far-fetched to some. Breeding sharks in captivity, transporting their eggs overseas, rearing them in custom-built nurseries, and eventually releasing them into the wild. Thanks to the passion and dedication of our team, we moved from our first committee meeting to our first shark release in less than 3 years, she said. Leopard sharks, native to Indo-Pacific waters from the Red Sea to the Marshall Islands, once thrived in shallow coral reef ecosystems. But demand for their distinctive long tails and the shark fin trade decimated populations across much of their range. By the time Raja Ampat declared itself a shark and ray sanctuary in 2012, the species had already vanished from local reefs. Mayer helped lead the development of ReShark's early frameworks, from nursery design and permitting to standard operating procedures. She also convened the first ReShark retreat, which set strategic direction and governance for the initiative's future growth. Australia remains a rare exception. In the southern Great Barrier Reef, seasonal gatherings of hundreds of leopard sharks still occur. Genetic research later confirmed what Erdman calls a conservation asymmetry. Raja Ampat's sharks are parts of the same eastern Indo-Pacific genetic population as those in Australia and New Caledonia, making reintroduction scientifically viable. Leopard sharks have long been a favourite for snorkelers and divers due to their beautiful patterns. Credit Alex Gibb. Much of what scientists know about the species in the wild comes from research in Australia led by Chris Dadjon, head of the IUCN Shark Specialist Group for Oceania and lead of the SNAR Research Working Group. She noted that while leopard sharks are occasionally caught as bycatch in Australia, they are generally released and benefit from regulations such as the mandatory release of sharks over 1.5 meters in Queensland. Their ability to breathe while stationary also makes them more resilient to capture than other species. The contrast with Indonesia, Dadjon said, is stark. Intense fishing pressure, habitat degradation, and a far denser human population have contributed to the species' local extirpation. But the real breakthrough came from an unlikely source: public aquariums. Captive breeding of leopard sharks is so prolific that some facilities separate males and females to avoid overpopulation.
Weighed down by negative news.
Our smart, bright, weekly newsletter is the uplift you've been looking for. There was a surplus of eggs, Erdman said. Meanwhile, we had a nearly empty ocean. That's when the idea clicked. The original spark for the project, Dadjon recalled, emerged from her 2015 IUCN Red List assessment of the species. A conversation with Erdman about his dive observations revealed a surprising alignment. While aquariums had excess eggs, the wild had none. The potential for rewilding using surplus aquarium-bred pups became clear. That conversation evolved into what is now the SNAR project, a global collaboration backed by aquariums and scientists from around the world. Unlike many sharks that bear live young, leopard sharks lay egg cases about the size of a human palm, an important biological quirk that made transoceanic transport feasible. Working with 12 aquariums, the team developed a shipping protocol that keeps eggs viable for up to 40 hours, allowing them to be moved from tanks in the US to hatcheries in Raja Ampat. There, 2 custom-built facilities operated in partnership with local eco-resorts nurture the embryos. Once hatched, the pups are raised on a diet of wild-caught snails and clams, not aquarium feed, to better prepare them for life on the reef. Around 50 centimeters, the young sharks are transferred to sea pens for a fattening phase, eventually reaching over a meter in length before their release. SNAR Indonesia Program Manager Nesha Ikeda, ReShark Manager Shannon Lachimahina, and Shark nannies Mary Rose Mardia and Anan excitedly viewing acoustic tracking data showing good survival of released pups from the Sorido Rock nursery. Credit Natsuns. As of August 2020, the project has shipped 155 eggs, hatched 9 pups, and released 4 peons. The goal is to release 50 to 75 sharks per year, an ambitious pace that, according to IUCN modeling, could re-establish a viable population within a decade. Natural recovery, by contrast, could take 200 years if it occurs at all. Local involvement is central to the project's design. 12 Indonesian shark nannies have been trained to manage the hatcheries, with some now pursuing advanced degrees. Children from nearby villages help collect food and take part in feeding and release ceremonies, embedding conservation into daily life. We're cultivating the next generation of shark lovers, Edmund says. For Nesha Ikeda, Indonesian Program Manager and co-chair of the Sendaya Steering Committee, the initiative has become more than a conservation program, it's a launchpad.